Exploring Korea's cultural wonders with our family, did that toddler just bow deeper than my mother-in-law? That was my first thought when our 6-year-olds greeted the gatekeeper at Nagan-Yubsing Fortress with a formal 90-degree bow. We had been in Korea less than 24 hours, and already the kids were schooling us on local etiquette. This was a family trip, Korean style. We skipped the amusement parks as these are universally fun yet globally monotone. We wanted to see what made Korea the modern marvel it is today. We wanted to go back in time. Join us inside UNESCO villages where every stone told a story, witness incredible martial arts on horseback, and taste kimchi from a family recipe that felt like a piece of history. We landed at Incheon at dawn with 2 backpacks, 3 small children, and 1 stroller. Instead of heading straight for Seoul's famous neon lights, we aimed south toward the Joseon-era villages that many travelers overlook. We wanted to find the Korea that exists beyond the capital. We were looking for the smell of pine smoke from a thatched roof, the sound of traditional shoes on packed earth alleys, and the echo of a wooden gong that called farmers home for 6 centuries. If our kids could experience that, perhaps this trip would leave a more lasting impression than all of their screens. Our first stop was the Korean folk village in Yongin, a living history book that offered an immersive taste of Joseon-era life. After paying for a family pass, we stepped through the gate into another era. The village featured 260 traditional hanok houses, many relocated from various provinces, their tiled roofs curving against the sky. Staff in period costumes greeted us, and we were immediately drawn into a variety of activities. We tried our hand at natural indigo dyeing and traditional arrow throwing, known as tuho. The main event, however, was the martial arts on horseback performance, where riders demonstrated incredible equestrian skills and fighting techniques. It was a full family cultural immersion, with other performances like the lively Nungok farmer-esque music and traditional tightrope walking happening throughout the village. The next morning, we took a bullet train to Jeonju Hanok Village, which contains around 700 hanok houses in a valley that once housed relatives of the Joseon royal family. Our mission here was to rent traditional hanbok attire. A major perk of wearing a hanbok is that entry to palaces is often free, allowing us to bypass ticket lines. Inside Gwanggajid Shrine, we found the 16th century portrait of King Taizhou. A guard informed us that the ink contained crushed oyster shell, giving the illusion that the king's eyes followed you around the room. Later, we tried the city's famous Jeonju bibimbap, served in a hot brass bowl that made the rice sizzle. Later, we traveled to Andong Haho Folk Village, a UNESCO World Heritage Site dating back to the 14th and 15th centuries. The village was a stunning example of Confucian clan culture, with tiled Yangban aristocrat houses on the high ground and thatched Chogajip cottages in the valley, all placed according to the principles of feng shui. The Nakdong River curved around the village in an S shape, which was said to trap good fortune. We were invited to a mass dance rehearsal, a traditional performance art native to the region. That night, we stayed in a 300-year-old house with traditional paper walls and ondol heated floors. The owner offered us some local Andong soju, a spirit distilled from sticky rice with a smooth, slightly sweet profile and a 45% alcohol content. I recommend going easy on the soju. Your head and stomach will thank you the next morning. Our next stop was Nagan-Yubsing Fortress Village on the south coast. Unlike many other heritage sites, this fortress town is home to about 150 residents who are supported by the government to maintain their traditional thatched-roof homes and mud walls. We met an 82-year-old resident who offered us a taste of her kimchi jjigae stew. She told us that the fortress gates used to close at sunset to protect the village from tigers. The kids ran along the fortress walls, exploring arrow slits and old wells. Our 6-year-old aptly described the fortress as Minecraft, but with splinters. Back in Seoul, we visited Gyeongbagung Palace for the 10 a.m. royal changing of the guard ceremony. A useful tip is to stand on the east side, where the morning sun makes the guards' colorful ribbons glow. Though the commentary was in Korean, the ceremony's choreography was universally impressive, with spinning spears, rolling drums, and powerful trumpet blasts. Both Gyeongbokgung and Changdeokgung palaces offered a fantastic glimpse into Korea's royal history and architecture. Inside the throne hall, we saw dragons painted on the ceiling beams, which we had the kids count once they started getting antsy. At Changdeokgung's secret garden, we passed a lotus pond shaped like the Korean peninsula. A docent showed us the ancient ondol pipes, the world's first underfloor heating system, invented in the 15th century. In Korea, food is a direct way to experience the culture. We found a small restaurant that served makgeolli, a milky rice wine from brass kettles. We paired with large mung bean pancakes called bindaetyeok. The kids tried ck, a sweet rice punch. Later in the trip, we tried live octopus. The tentacles were still moving, but a generous amount of sesame oil helped manage the experience. The baby waved a tentacle like a tiny flag before eating it, earning applause from a nearby table of local women. Over the week, we estimated we had 14 servings of kimchi, each with its own distinct age and flavor. In Seoul's Bukkan neighborhood, we took a workshop to make art from hanji, traditional Korean paper. Then we visited Icheon Pottery Village, where a master potter demonstrated how to throw a moon jar so thin that light could pass through it. The kids got to hand build their own mugs. And the instructor wisely noted that imperfections represent the breadth of people. We also treat at a Hwarong-themed range. These kinds of interactive workshops offered a deep, personal immersion into Korean heritage. Our trip coincided with the celebration of Buddha's birthday. In Seoul, the Cheonggyecheon stream was transformed by thousands of paper lotus lanterns carrying LED candles. Our children wrote wishes on them before we released them into the water. In another part of the city, temples were decorated with rainbow-colored paper cranes, and monks beat giant drums that echoed between the modern skyscrapers. It was a perfect example of how tradition and technology coexist in modern Korea. On our final night, we sat on a stone step in a palace just after closing. We recapped our favorite moments: the horseback martial arts, the lyrics of a masked dance song, and the comforting warmth of the ondol floors. We felt humbled by the centuries of history, feeling like our story was a small part of a much larger one. My highlight was the kimchi jjigae recipe that Grandma Park scribbled for me on a dried persimmon wrapper. We promised the kids we'll cook it at home, knowing we couldn't truly replicate the taste of pine smoke and 82 years of lived experience. If you're replanning a family trip and wondering if historic villages can hold their own against modern attractions, the answer is yes. The most powerful memory might not be the urban energy of Seoul, but the quiet moment in a traditional kitchen when an elder hands your child a rice cake shaped like a full moon. You'll bring home handmade paper, imperfect pottery, and a new appreciation for a culture that has endured for centuries. Pack your curiosity, leave room for history, and discover the side of Korea that bows back. Till the next adventure, annyeong, and keep exploring.